Okay, y'all, so here we go with another blast from the past. Now, these are some of the stories that had me in a chokehold back in the day. And maybe some of you never heard about or forgot about. So I'm just reintroducing it to a new audience. Now, this is Tamika Foster. I don't know why I keep wanting to call her Fuller, Tamika Fuller, which is Ludacris's baby mama. Anyway, Tamika was married to Usher from 2007 to 2009, and now she's speaking out, don't ask me why, about their, how they get along now after their ugly co-parenting and legal battle over their two sons.
My case, my ex is dating someone, and I actually like her. She's cool. Like, she's been helpful. I think, I don't see a hidden agenda. I think there has to be what I feel is that it just depends on how they got in the relationship too. Like if she's like a mistress turned wife, the respect level is different. You know what I mean? In this case, this was a clean. This woman that he's with, this is somebody that was not involved in our relationship, and there was no infidelity while I was with her. So I like her. She's cool. We have a clean slate until she, proves otherwise. But she's cool.
How soon do introductions come when you are dating somebody to?
I haven't introduced anybody to anybody on my side, but I seem to have to meet everybody immediately.
This is Usher and his wife, Jen, their two daughters, and his two sons with Tamika. Now, Jen is in the music business, I believe. I believe she has something to do with like A&R or something like that. I'm not quite sure. But she does travel a lot with Usher, and they actually got married the same day he performed at the Super Bowl. So, congratulations to them. But anyway, let's get back into Tamika and the subtle shade that she was throwing, alluding to the fact that, their co-parenting was messy and, that she was introduced to so many women, but she's never introduced her kids to anybody. Well, ma'am, I'm sorry if you haven't dated, but that's not Usher's problem. And even to bring Jen up, like Jen and Usher, I mean, they've been together for a little while, but not back when him and Tamika were dealing. And so I don't even know where she is getting this from, why she is even bringing this up. It's given bitter. It's given bitter, and I haven't moved on. Now, the interview was probably about maybe 6 months ago. I had to go back and look it up just to make sure that it wasn't recent, but it was definitely when these two were married. So for her to address her as, I forgot what she said. But she didn't say his wife. But ma'am, let us remind you how you and Usher started. Now, Tamika was a married lady. She had 3 children, 3 sons. Okay, and then she became Usher's stylist. Now, this was, I believe, right after the Confessions era. So if you know, Usher was the hottest thing smoking, always looked impeccable. I mean, I'm not going to hold you. She did a fantastic job. I don't know who else famous she styled, but she is one of those people in the Atlanta streets known for fashion. So her and Usher began seeing each other, and then they popped out married. Now, if you know anything about Usher's mother, she's one of those, Black women who do not hold their tongue, okay? She reminds me of Brandy's mother. And if you know, you know, okay? So anyway, his mother was not happy at all, okay? She did not like Tamika in the least bit, and she definitely did speak out about it. Now again, this came on the heels of Usher and Chili calling it quits. And if you know, we adored Usher and Chili as a couple, even though she was the older woman. And even Usher's mother, she liked Chili, so there was no issue there. But when Confessions came out, and it seems as though maybe Usher was unfaithful to Chili, then people were like, oh, okay, but clearly he had a thing for older women. Now, almost from the beginning, the media, the fans were not having it. And Usher says he felt attacked. He said the fans judged him after he married her in 2007, and he believes colorism played a part, in the public scrutiny that they faced during their marriage. Now, again, I go back to Chili. Chili was not considered light skinned, okay? So I don't think it was colorism at all. I think people just didn't like the fact that she was an older woman. I think they didn't like the fact that she was a divorced woman. And, it just seemed like she was robbing the cradle and that her motives weren't, you know, on the straight and narrow. It seemed like she definitely had ulterior motives. So it's ironic that she would say that about somebody else. Almost from the beginning, nobody was happy with this union. The record label, his mother, the fans, so it put a lot of strain on their marriage. And then it was her, search or thirst, I should say, for fame and for stardom. And she wanted to live that life and she wanted to be a land of royalty. And, she was married to Usher, and it ultimately led to her making a decision to go out of the country to receive cosmetic surgery, and she didn't tell Usher about this. Apparently, this was the straw that broke the camel's back because something went wrong, and upon her return, that was it. Usher filed for divorce. He filed for custody of the children, and that began a nasty war of words between the two. Now look, Usher has had this body all his life, okay? So I'm quite sure there was pressure to look a certain way. And again, she was much older. Somebody says she was his mother's age now. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, damn. But I'm quite sure the pressure to look a certain way to fit into that lifestyle, you know, took a toll, on her psyche. But the fact that he married her, knowing her age, knowing she had these children, it seemed to me as though he was, all right with her body. I'm just saying, like, a lot of times we as women, we just do too much. We put too much pressure on ourselves to look a certain way when men obviously don't care. But again, she wanted to fit that image of what she thought a superstar's wife would be. But anyway, in the process of them going through a bitter divorce, tragedy struck. Now that is Kyle on the bottom left, Tamika's son. And I believe he drowned. I don't know if he was at a lake or something happened, the beach somewhere, and he ended up drowning. So Tamika ended up losing her child while she was going through this bitter divorce. And, I read the comments and somebody was like, they feel like the divorce should have been paused when this happened. I mean, I know that had to be horrible, for her to go through. And I know that definitely made the divorce 10 times harder. And then the fact that Usher ultimately got custody of both of his kids with Tamika. Now, at the time, Usher's lawyer said that she is incapable of being a proper parent to the boys, saying she does not have the emotional stability to or capacity to bond with them, and therefore she is handicapped. Now, to me, that says a lot. Number one, it says that after losing her son, she was in a dark place, and she probably couldn't pull it together for the kids. I completely understand that. But not having the emotional stability to bond with them, that lets me know that maybe the only reason she had those kids, was to secure a bag, basically, and that she really wasn't interested in, being a mother at that time. Again, she went and got that makeover. She was trying to live that lifestyle. Now, her other children were getting up in age where I'm quite sure they were doing a lot of things for themselves, and then to have to start over with two younger children while you're trying to, live a certain lifestyle. Maybe that played a part. I don't know. I'm not judging. Again, losing a child, I can't even comprehend. So whatever she was going through, I'm quite sure that at the time, she was doing the best that she could. Now, over the years, it's been clear, like I said before, that these two just don't mess with each other. So Tamika was asked, what was the issue? Where did the perceived beef come from? And this was her response.
I really don't know. I would be, I don't know. I just think that, what are we fighting about? Like, we're not a couple. We are not trying to be a couple. You've moved on. I'm moving on. Like, life is like, we're stuck with each other. You know what I mean? I'm gonna be your kid's grandmother, whether you like it or not. Like, I'm not going anywhere. Even if I die, I'm not going anywhere. I'm their mother. I'm a very strong and valuable force, in their lives. And what's the point of being mad? Mad at what? Like, what are you mad at? We don't have anything to be mad about.
Especially if you both let go of the relationship.
Exactly. And so the other thing is, too, I think, and I explained that to him, us having any kind of beef publicly, or people thinking that we have it, perceived beef, it made things harder for me. You know what I mean? Because if it looks like you're not getting along, the fans and the people are automatically going to side with him. Right? All the invitations are going to go to his house, right? You won't be included in anything because they feel like they're got to side with him.
Now, did y'all catch that little slip of the tongue? She said, he's moved on, I'm moving on. Girl, how many years have it been? She still ain't moved on. She still hasn't moved on. That's where the issue comes in at, because I guarantee you that behind the scenes, she is doing the most. Now, you can sit up here and try to say, oh, I don't know what the issue is, and I'm going to be around. Yeah, I'm going to be, the kid's grandmother, blah, blah, blah. Trust me, she is making that man's life miserable. She is saying little slick stuff. She's probably doing some aggressive shit to them kids, saying stuff to them kids about their daddy or his new family, or trust me, she's doing something. But I guess recently, he did mention her when he gave that speech. I forgot where it was. I think he got some type of award or something, and he did mention Tamika. So, maybe that was his way of trying to, heal those wounds. In conclusion, if you haven't gathered it from this video, let me just say it. Sides aren't always women, okay? Usher was technically the side dude because she was very much married when they got together. But besides that, I pray that a lot of you sides and bitter exes move on. You don't want to be on somebody's podcast couch in 10, 15, 20 years still talking about that man. Okay, Deja, we don't want to see you in nobody's basement talking about how you stumbled upon Tim Anderson 20 years ago. Okay? So this is just a warning to y'all. Move on.